I'm joined here with Scorpio Sky, and we're at Bar Wrestling. Thank you so much for
Hello.
doing this show.
Yes, pleasure.
All right, so my first question is, what made you want to be a wrestler?
I I can't sing or dance, so wrestling seemed to be the logical move. In all seriousness, I grew up watching watching wrestling. I was a really big fan, and it's kind of all I ever wanted to do. Actually, never wanted to do anything else.
So where'd you get your start from?
I started. Wow. Just freaking guy. Anyway, I started at. Actually, I trained with Jesse Hernandez, the guy who worked in the ring here at Bar Wrestling. I trained with him a little when I was like 16, and then I finished high school and started college, and ended up training at a local place called Revolution Pro, the Rudo's Dojo, that is not here anymore. Closed down in 2004, but it was a great school, very respected school here in Southern California at the time, and I worked out there for about a year and started wrestling.
That's really cool. So what made you join SCU and Ring of Honor?
I have been friends with Frankie and Chris for my entire career almost, and I always looked up to them even before I was able to be friends with them, and I've wrestled them in PWG. So when they had a hand in actually getting me a job at Ring of Honor, obviously. And so it just seemed like a logical move. They were looking for a third guy. They had been looking for a third guy for a while. I was kind of just the new guy and was out there, and we had a history, and we're all SoCal guys, so it made sense.
And you know the chemistry, if you've been friends, it just seems so natural.
Yes, yeah, perfect.
So what inspired the Apollo Creed gear at All In?
Frankie and I specifically are huge Rocky fans, and it's kind of something I've always wanted to do, you know, like growing up, I wanted to be a wrestler, you know, but I always wanted to be in a Rocky movie too, but I was never able to actually be Rocky or be Apollo Creed, you know, because you can't grow up and be movie characters for a living. I mean, you can, but they're already made, so I didn't get to do that. But we always wanted to do it, and so we did our training montage leading up till All In, and then it just seemed like, hey, let's get some gear, and it all came together great.
So tying into that, let's talk about your real feud with your Rocky, Ramiro.
Yes. We had a feud in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. It was a really good feud, actually. It had about 3 matches, and we're actually 1-1 because the second match we had was kind of a no contest or a draw. So we kind of have some unfinished business. Well, technically, actually, I did wrestle him at the New Japan show, the dojo show that they put on to open the dojo, and I beat him, so technically, we're done. I finished. I won. I won the feud. So. No, Rocky's awesome, though. Rocky's one of the smartest guys. Another guy I looked up to when I first started, and he's an amazing performer.
What's the difference between wrestling somewhere like Championship Wrestling from Hollywood to Bar Wrestling to PWG?
Well, Championship Wrestling from Hollywood is a TV show, and so it's obviously a little bit more, there's stronger lines where you've got times you absolutely have to hit for segments. A lot of times on an indie show like Bar Wrestling, if you go over 2 minutes on your time, it's really not too big of a deal. If you do that when you're filming TV, it could be a problem. So there's that, and there's obviously, you know, there's more interviews, you have to do more promos, you have to do, there's certain things like you got to hit the cameras a certain way, and that I would say would separate that from everything else, whereas Bar Wrestling, I tend to play to the crowd a little bit more than the camera. Like, you're supposed to play to the camera, but this is the main, like, Bar Wrestling is the one place where I almost never played to hard cam. Like, I break every rule in wrestling. I never really played a hard cam, but there's so much energy in the crowd. It's like, I don't want to ignore it. And they've got a floor camera that can catch things, so there's that. And PWG, I really haven't worked PWG in 6 years or something, so I don't even really, I can't even really give an accurate
But the
assessment.
crowds, how are the crowds different?
Oh, the crowds, well, Bar Wrestling, the crowds had a few soda pops, and so that's a big difference, whereas Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, they've, you know, they're all sober, but they're a great crowd. They're everywhere, they're all great crowds. PWG was a great crowd, and that's one thing they all had in common.
So what made you decide to start The Best Gimmick?
You know, It all started in Wrestle Circus in Texas. And I had a manager at the time, Kevin Condren. And when he took me on, or he started actually managing me, he was really talking to me like on some realness. Like backstage, he was just like, look, man, I don't see too much of a difference between you and some of these other guys that are considered the best. And he's like, so I think we just need to start saying it. Like, and he would tweet. He's like, by the end of this year, everyone is going to be saying Scorpio Sky is the best. And then so he just started saying it, and I started saying it. And then we came out with the song, and then the crowd started saying it, and now it's kind of a thing. Now that's kind of what, it was just like a shoot turning into a part of the show.
What has been your favorite match to wrestle at bar wrestling?
That's tough. Tessa Blanchard was one of them. Definitely, that's probably top 2. I really enjoyed that match. Tessa's awesome. She's good enough to where she can wrestle with the guys and hold her own. You know, obviously we're naturally kind of a little stronger, but she's pretty damn strong and hit me harder than a lot of the guys do. So she's definitely one of my favorite matches. And then, God, so many of them. Brian Cage was a match that I really liked that I had here. Those might have been my favorite too. And then I've had a lot of tag matches here that were really fun. Nest Monster, I think that was like the last one. That was one of my favorites. That one was good.
I really enjoyed your match with Shane Strickland.
Oh, that's another one. Oh man, I have a lot of great matches. I just forget about them. Like no, Shane Strickland was another great match I liked here. Yeah.
I feel like the crowd was really into it.
All the bar wrestling shows are fun. They're all good.
Does traveling ever get hard for you? And if it does, what helps you relax?
Traveling is always hard. I've become more of a homebody. I like, and not necessarily just in my home, but I like being home. Like I do this show, I live very close to here, not too far, so it's convenient. Any show where I can sleep in my own bed at the end of the night, I enjoy that. On the road, it's a little bit hard. You're in hotels, you have to settle. Sometimes you're in one hotel and then you're in another town the next night, another town the next night. That's why I hate every town, you know, because it's not comfortable. And to decompress while we're on the road, we just talk crap about the town, and we just let ourselves, we just air out our grievances with our town. I don't know if you've watched Being the Elite, but yeah, we air out our grievances, and that kind of helps us get through.
Yeah, like you have the shirt, you know, this is the worst town.
Available on Hot Topic.
So what was it like wrestling at Meltdown Comics?
That was fun, actually. That was a really fun little show, pop-up, different. It was like a Saturday morning, so fans could come out, and I had a lot of fun. I hope we get to do it again. Or did they close?
They closed.
Well, guess we're not going to get to do it again.
Do you have any crazy experiences or like fan stories?
I had a dart thrown at me during a match once.
What?
Yeah, I was wrestling in Vegas, and I was a bad guy. And I was wrestling Frankie Kazarian, actually. And fans were just throwing things into the ring, and the referee picked up a dart, an actual like throwing dart, and he showed me after the match. He was like, "Here, somebody threw this at you." And I was, well, we had him. So that's a crazy story. I'm sure there's a lot more that I can't think of off the top of my head, but
that's something that I'd like tell someone. Like, I almost got hit with a dart.
A dart? Can you imagine if that hit me? That wouldn't have been good. That would have been really bad.
What's one of your dream matches currently?
Dream match. Okada? That'd be a fun match. Jinder Mahal?
Jinder Mahal?
Love Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal is a dream match. Sorry about all the
It's okay.
stuff. You probably have a lot more, structured interviews normally, but when it's Scorpio Sky, it's gonna be a little chaotic.
I can edit it or I can leave it.
There we go. Jinder Mahal, Okada. I think those would be fun matches. I've wrestled him already, 3 times, but Cody Rhodes actually is.
Ooh.
I mean, it's a dream match. I've wrestled him already, but I love wrestling him.